Sure.
What is your educational background?
I got my BFA in fine arts at State University, and I have to admit that I reluctantly declared my concentration in painting. I think it's common for undergrad students to not feel exactly where they fit into their sort of, whether they're sculpture or painting or printmaking, because it's early. And I think mostly I picked my concentration based on who was sort of my mentor. So that became really important, and I feel like whoever I felt like I was working with and sort of got what I was interested in. At the time, I was interested in interdisciplinary work, but this was in the late 90s, and as much as it was prominent in the art world to work in an interdisciplinary way, it wasn't necessarily prominent in art schools. You couldn't, or at least where I was, you couldn't declare that. So I think I was aware that I worked with a two-dimensional sensibility, and I declared a major in painting. After that, I went on to go to Savannah College of Art and Design, where I considered textile art, I remember thinking. And I ended up going there as a painting major again, because that's where I was coming from. But I did work with a lot of embroidery on canvas, and I also worked a lot in the printmaking studio. So I was still sort of devoted to working in a disciplinary way. And I would say that even as an undergrad, I knew that ideas were more important to me than methods or materials. So the idea came first, and then how I made it sort of depended on that idea. So I was reluctant in both of those phases to declare a painting major, but I did. So as a grad student, I did a lot of work in printmaking, and I did all of my graduate teaching in printmaking, but I didn't feel like a painter or a printmaker. I felt more like an artist, and I was working two-dimensionally. So those were the decisions I made based on sort of the choices I had at the time. And currently, I guess it's fair to say that I have pursued, I'm still sort of educating myself, as we all do, in a formal way. I'm now about to finish up my certificate in online teaching and learning, because throughout my career, I've also dedicated myself to teaching, as well as learning.
So when you were 17, 18, 19 years old, why did you choose to go to art school? Why did that seem like the right path for you?
I knew that it was right for me, but I don't know that even at that time I had the sense of having a path. You're kind of, for better or for worse, living in the moment, and I didn't feel like I really had any other choice. That's what I was doing. I do think that maybe for 3 minutes I was an art education major, sort of just to get my desires. They were sort of sending me out to college. And as much as I'm interested in art education and teaching at all levels at this point in my career, at the time it was very obvious to me that that wasn't the right fit. So again, I think that might have lasted a fraction of a class, and I moved on. Again, I'm totally interested in those ideas and art education at all levels, but it was clear to me that I needed to be a studio major pretty early on.
Did you, so I think you kind of just answered this, but we'll kind of expand the conversation. Did you know what you wanted to do professionally when you were a student?
I think I did. I think I always knew that I think initially I knew that I wanted to be an artist. I didn't have any sense of what it meant to be an artist and a teacher in higher ed until I was maybe in my third or fourth year. And then I looked at your questions and I thought about this, and I think I absolutely, at a pretty early point, decided that I wanted to do what my professors were doing.
Yeah.
I thought of them as being working artists, and I really admired them as such, and I thought that their connection to young people, to new ideas, and up-and-coming sort of emerging artists was super important. And I remember thinking, that I really sort of wanted to both be a working, making artist and also to be connected to these new ideas throughout my career. And I think students bring that. So I do think that pretty early on I thought, I want to be like my professors, I want to be an artist, and I want to be teaching, and I want to be in the classroom, and I want to be in touch with all of these people, sort of exploring their path.
Yeah, so then your decision to go, did you get an MFA straight out of undergrad in order to pursue that?
That's interesting. That's a good question. I came out of undergrad, and my intention was to go pretty quickly to grad school. I remember applying to a few different schools, and I also, right out of my undergrad, I had gotten a job at what was a new satellite gallery for the Penn State University. And I was hired as the assistant, the gallery assistant there. So I did that a week after I graduated, and I continued that for a year while I applied for grad schools. Again, when I was applying for grad schools, I still wasn't certain of who was an artist in terms of discipline. So I felt kind of pushed into declaring a concentration as an undergrad. And I had 4 choices. And I still wasn't quite sure. And I was still interested in her. But I think I applied within that first year. I remember going to one interview at Bard, and they asked me why I was trying to go to grad school maybe. And it hadn't occurred to me that I would do anything other than that. So, and I'm still not totally, maybe I should have waited a couple of years, maybe not, but I took rock and then went to grad school the following academic year. And in the meantime, I worked as a gallery assistant. So.
Was it common that people that you were in graduate school with, was it common that they went right away, or was it more common that they waited? What was your impression of that?
I do think I went, I do feel like I was among some of the younger students as a grad student. I think I was 22 when I went to grad school, and I know that there were a lot of students, a lot of my peers were in their late 20s. I don't think it's uncommon at all to go a little bit later. And I think at my interview at Bard, there was this question of why aren't you just putting yourself out in the art world first and then grad school? But because, like I said, I kind of knew that I wanted to be a teacher in higher ed. To me, that knew that I needed to get my master's to do that. So it was kind of a career path. It was a path as an artist.
Right.
So I was negotiating those 2 things. I realized at their suggestion that I might be able to go out into the world and be an artist without my graduate degree, but I was interested in all teaching. So I knew that I needed to do that.
So what is your job currently, Kelly?
I am currently the assistant coordinator of foundations at Penn State University, and I teach and help with coordinating duties.
Were there other teaching jobs that came before that, or what was the path that led to that co-coordinatorship?
I was interested in teaching right out of grad school. I was applying for jobs. Of course, I came out of grad school in 2001, and jobs were slim at the time, which was something that surprised me because that was sort of in contrast to what was going on when I was in school. So I was an adjunct for, I guess, about 9 years.
What does that mean to be an adjunct?
Teaching. That means that I was I had contracts per semester. The top area. I pretty consistently taught 2D composition throughout my career, but also would take on painting 1 or painting 2. I also taught 3D. So whatever classes that you are equipped to teach and are available, you may or may not get offered. And it's kind of it's not a long-term sort of, as much as I taught for 9 years as an adjunct, but you don't really know what your future looks like beyond the semester.
So you do mostly focus in teaching foundations in at least the recent years, because when we teach foundations, we're really focused in on certain kinds of ideas. Is your understanding of those sort of foundational principles affected you as an artist or your artistic practice?
I would say absolutely. I remember very well writing my first teaching philosophy in grad school and professional practices. And I wrote this teaching philosophy, and a lot of it is still relevant, and I stick to a lot of it. But I remember talking about, I really thought of myself as being a conceptual artist, and I felt like foundations, you can kind of take it or leave it. I felt like it wasn't absolutely necessary to have foundational skills to be a successful artist. And I think it's interesting that I've ended up spending most of my career so far dedicated to foundations. But my teaching philosophy talks about how I thought it was more important to be able to ideate and think about how materials and methods could support the ideas that we had, and not necessarily that we have. It's not absolutely necessary maybe that you can draw the figure in order to be a successful artist. And I still believe that that's true. But I've also come to believe that if you're on an academic path to being an artist, that that's what you're signing up for, and that it might not be necessary. It's definitely supports your path and offers you really important things that you can take with you. So while I don't use what I learned in figure drawing in my daily work, I think that it's important that I have that background. And it's not something that I teach, but I believe mostly, the 2D comp stuff and the 3D comp and the digital media and foundations has definitely changed since I think I wrote that since I wrote that teaching philosophy in 2000. So I think foundations has become more about generating ideas, exploration, trying things, allowing yourself to fail. I think when I wrote that statement in 2000, foundations felt a lot more academic than it does now. But I guess I haven't quite answered your question yet. I would say that I have never given my foundation students an assignment. I think it's fair to say that. I don't think I've ever given them an assignment that I haven't done myself. And I always, when I'm thinking of ideas to generate my artwork, I'm always thinking about whether they're going to yield artwork that is unified, whether it has enough interest. Like, I'm always going back to those things that we teach our students. And they're maybe not my starting point, but I want to make sure that they have it.
So they probably don't know, but behind you is a whole wall of your own artwork.
Yes.
So what is your artwork about? How do you generate your ideas? What do you focus on?
This is what I'm someone actually. My artwork is, I think it's always been about art. Like I think there are artists that are interested in politics, there are artists that are interested in the environment, there are artists that are interested in any number of subjects, but I feel like I've always been an artist that is interested in art. That's my subject.
Right.
So when I make art, I'm thinking about what does it mean to an image, what does it mean to be art or not art. That's really always the subject of my work. So it's pretty self-analytical.
So in the pieces behind you, so it's all embroidered line on Stonehenge, is that right?
Yeah, it's all, so it's like cut paper with embroidery thread that is run through the sort of controls. It also has embossment, so I made that a time when I was also interested in printmaking, and so it's a really subtle detail that I was using a metal stamper to emboss numbers into the paper.
And how are you making decisions about that line work? Like what went there? Were you doing it intuitively, or did you have a plan or an idea that supported it?
No, it was a color by number kit that I had gotten with. It was kind of like connect the dots or find a number kind of thing. So it was all of these points, and if you would have done it correctly, it would have yielded maybe a picture of a farmer with a tool in the sunset, or some tulips, or a fish in the pool. So they are all set up to yield images if you follow the directions. But I sort of set them up in my own way, and I stamped the numbers. So wherever you were supposed to paint the number 1, I stamped a 1 and put a dot. And then I had the kit that it came with had a sort of the colors that you applied per number, since that dictated the color of the string that I used. So I was just connecting the 1s to the 2s, the 2s to the 3s, the 3s to the 4s. And so it became this really linear sort of like network of lines. And I was interested in it because it was like this kit that you bought that was supposed to sort of enable image making. But I didn't want to make the image that they gave me. I wanted to build my own image. But I kind of wanted to follow the rules, but not really.
Yeah.
So that's how that project came about. So you get these, it's very linear. And I sort of have to, I always tell my students, I kind of, as an artist, you have to make up your own rules. And then sometimes you also have to remind yourself that you are the rule maker and you can break them or change them along the way. So there come points when things don't go the way that you think or anticipate they're going to go, so you maybe adjust them accordingly.
Yeah. So this work behind you is a little bit older. We have a poster that was promoting Foundations Forum tonight, and it's a work that's a little bit different, more colored pencil. So how are you making decisions about what you're going to make next?
Yeah, so that piece is pretty recent. I think I made it just a few weeks ago. I was working in my studio colored pencils that a friend had sent me, and they were in order. And so I thought, I'm going to leave these pencils in the order that they came in the box. So it was like brown, black, blue, red, not in totally predictable order, but sort of. So I had a grid. I often start with a grid, and the piece behind me, I didn't start with a grid, but I ended with a grid. So the grid is sort of a pretty big part of my work. So probably a year ago or months ago, I just sat down. I wasn't sure what I was doing at the time, so I just sat down and drew 20 grids, 1 inch by 1 inch grid of paper, and I felt like they would be starting points for something. So I took them to my studio, and the day that I had taken the colored pencils up, I just decided that I was going to fill in the grid of pencil lines, and each line, each quarter of each square would be a different color, and I would take them out of the box and then put them back in order as I filled out the grid. Wherever there were 2 colors that sort of met so that you got like a right angle, I would connect those right angle, and they would get filled in a solid color. The other ones, whatever colors were left, so if it had blue and brown remaining, it would get a layer of blue watercolor and then a layer of brown watercolor. So some of the squares, if they don't have a solid triangle in them, that means that they have maybe 3 layers of watercolor in them, depending on what their outline colors are.
It was just a big
So it
game.
starts with watercolor, and I sort of follow the rule, the squares, except I'm not random. So it's sort of working with the sort of methodology of, I'm sure I'm explaining how it works, but it's random within sort of my set rules.
Yeah. So you're kind of making games for yourself a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah.
So a lot of other artists have done that through art history. Are there any that you're interested in particular, artists that influence your work?
I think there are a few artists that stand out as having been really influential. As an undergrad, I think my mentor that I decided to go painting because I was working with him had given me some books about conceptual art, and I became really interested in Saul Witt and Ava Hess, both in terms of conceptual approaches to art and process art. So they're pretty prevalent in your art history courses or your contemporary art history courses, and they're kind of big names. And I remember sort of thinking that they were important to what I was doing. And I still think that. I think about what they do as, it's still on my bucket list is to be part of a Saul Witt drawing. And I'm not sure that I am sure that I'm not doing the same thing that they were doing. But I think that what they were doing made me think about especially solo layer. I remember seeing as an undergrad a show and just being really interested in the variations on an idea and how there's just so much potential in a single, small, tiny idea. And it felt like there was, any idea was just this little seed of so many more ideas, and that felt exciting to me. I think more, as a graduate student, I went to Atlanta and sort of stumbled on an Ellsworth Kelly exhibition, and I had seen his paintings in museums and kind of just struck, it was fine, it was interesting. I never had fallen in love with his work until I saw this exhibition in Atlanta, which was like the drawings and sort of ideas behind his work, and then I just thought, wow, that's pretty great. So they were like found hanger drawings or cut up and reconfigured drawings. I love the element of chance that he was using, but I also loved sort of conformal stuff that was going on. So I still really think a lot about Ellsworth Kelly. More currently, I think I'm interested in paying attention to everything that's going on, whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
But those are sort of three formative, big name artists that I think sat with me for a while.
So sometimes as artists, our ideas aren't necessarily, you said that your artwork is often about art, but we're often inspired by things that live beyond those boundaries. So is there anything that you're really interested in right now, or projects that you're considering or thinking on? And basically, what do you think is interesting?
What I'm interested in right now, I think I started it was probably about a year ago. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but I think I became interested in this idea.
She has a dog that barks.
I think someone was at my door, I'm just going to ignore it for now.
We can barely hear him.
Sorry.
Okay.
I became interested in this idea. There's a project that I called Art in Homes, and I started feeling like I didn't love the idea of art being just in galleries or being a sort of exclusive experience, but I really felt like we need to live with art, and I felt like I wanted my work to be part of people's lives. So via Facebook, I had this idea, probably at 11:30 one night, that I wanted to trade people my work for photographs of my work in their homes. So I send you a piece of work, and then you compensate me for the work with a photograph of the piece in your home. And I felt like this was kind of this important idea that art shouldn't just be confined to the people that feel like they're very interested in it, or going out of their way to see it and experience it. I wanted it to be part of people's everyday, regular lives. And I've thought more about that idea, and I'm starting to think more about sort of tapping into some things like Instagram. I've been teaching digital media this semester, so I'm thinking about these digital applications. But I'm interested in the idea of art as not being this sort of very precious, unattainable thing. I think it should be part of the regular, everyday person's life.
So we're going to change gears just a little bit. This is a question that I've thought a lot about in terms of my own teaching practice, and try to answer to maybe my younger self in a lot of ways daily in the classroom. But what do you wish someone told you in your first few years of undergrad?
I thought about that question, and I think, honestly, I feel like I was told. I got back and wish that I would have heard it more.
Sure.
So a lot of people told me the things that I think were important, and then after thinking about it more, I thought about a few things that I do wish I would have heard. But among the things that I did hear, but I wish I would have heard more, or I would have listened to more. I remember when I was a 2D comp student, it was actually called Visual Organization, and my teacher had given us an article. It was a very, very grim article about the number of students who actually continue to make art after art school, the number of students who go on to have jobs in the arts after art school. And I kind of looked at it as I dare you to keep this major.
Yeah.
it was pretty grim, but I felt like it made me feel okay about what I was doing because I didn't feel uncomfortable taking that risk. I wish maybe I would have taken that reality a little bit more seriously because I think that it was a real picture of what was going on. It's not an easy path, but you have to be dedicated. It's easy enough to do it to get your BFA and then to never make art again. That can totally happen. So I think that was an important thing that was given to me, and maybe I should have given it a little bit more attention. But again, I sort of fluffed it off as a sort of, I dare you to keep doing this. The other thing that I was told as an undergrad and a grad student that I should have listened to more was to network.
Yeah.
It's a much smaller world than we think it is. And you realize that a few years in, and networking is super important. It's not always comfortable. You're not always sure how to do it, but I think it's important, and I should have listened to that advice more. Things someone didn't tell me. Gosh, that's hard. I mean, again, I feel like everyone gave me most of the advice that I needed to get. It's just a matter of hearing it. I think things I didn't know were that teaching is a pretty job, and it's not artist first, teaching second in most cases. It's often teaching first, artist second. And it takes up a lot of time. I think the other thing, and that's okay, but I don't know that I knew that being an artist would come second to that. The other thing I maybe didn't know that would have been nice to have heard was that as an undergrad, I know that I always am sympathetic to my students. I know that they're really bogged down with a lot of work and a lot of responsibilities, and they don't have a lot of fluid. And I wish maybe I knew that that wasn't going to change. You shouldn't expect to have a lot more time or fluid money than you do currently. And that's okay, but I think when you're a student, you think, oh, this will all be good and fine. And in a few years when I'm done, I'll have more time, I'll have more money. And I think those are things that you should not expect to count on. You may have a little bit more money, but you'll also have a little bit more financial responsibilities.
Right.
It all gets distributed. Same with time. So
Yeah.
those are things that maybe no one told me that would have been nice to hear.
Great, awesome. The last question that I have planned for you is, do you have any advice for emerging artists, photographers, and graphic designers? So our department here is a little bit different than at Kent State. At Kent State, the graphic design department is in a different school altogether. But here, we're all on one floor. So you can answer it kind of with that in mind.
I'm teaching this digital media class this semester, and I've been teaching them and trying to impart on them the importance of digital presence. Whether you're interested in digital media as how you make work or not, I think we were talking just the other day in my class about how when you apply for a job, people are going to Google you. They're going to see who shows up, what you are up to, what you're doing. So I think sort of crafting that digital presence is important as a 21st century person, not just artist. I think I feel almost naive saying it at my age, but I remember as a grad student feeling like integrity was so important. And I still really feel that way. I think just to be true to who you are and to do the work that you want to do, but also to be open-minded is important. But I think integrity is really important in our world. And we talk in my digital media class about digital presence and representing yourself both the way that you want to be received, but also in a way that's true to who you are. So I think balancing that. We live in a world where this digital version of ourselves isn't true to who we are, but I think it's important to do it with integrity and honesty.
Right.
But also to sort of put yourself out there in the world in the best possible way.
So I have a few questions from students directly. I think we'll lighten the mood for the first one. And we have a question, what's your favorite color?
that's so funny. I just don't have a favorite color. Although, I have to say, and I think of you when I do this, I had my students do a color meditation the other day, and I guess, I don't know that it's my favorite color, but I guess my comfort color, my color shield color
Yeah.
is probably turquoise.
I guess right.
I know, you guessed that, right? I feel like, in terms of color though, I always, I feel like I've come to a point in terms of color theory and color appreciation that it's hard to not like a color, and I've totally lost a sense of what colors go together and what don't want to like be buddies and work together.
Yeah.
But I guess, well, it's not my favorite color, maybe my color is turquoise.
I think your spirit color is turquoise, for sure.
That might be my spirit color, or my shield color, yes. My class and I were joking about walking up to people you don't know and asking them what their shield color is.
Yeah.
That come off as being kind of weird.
It's just research. It just goes along with everything else weird that we do.
Right.
Okay, so another question from a student is, did you ever think about a backup plan to your career path? And if so, why or why not? Did you have a backup plan?
So I probably should have, or that might not have been a bad idea. I don't have a backup plan. I am just in it, all, head first, whole self in it. To whatever degree it works or doesn't work. That being said, I have a concrete plan B, but I think you don't necessarily have to have a plan B, but you have to be willing to compromise and make things work. And your plan B is kind of on the fly.
Good answer. Good answer. Okay, another one from students. How do you quantify your success?
No, I don't. I don't think there's any way. I think it would be nice to think that you feel successful when you feel like you're making the work that you want to make. But I think as artists, we also feel like we need some sort of acceptance or have on the back. Oh, that's one other thing that I would have liked to have been told in school. And I do tell my students, when you have critiques, it's so hard. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get students to participate or say all your things, but it's something that you're going to miss someday. Like you're going to be sitting in a studio by yourself or in a little room in your home or wherever you're working. Wish that you had 15 people giving their input or giving their voice, whether you take it or not. That's the kind of thing with critiques. You can take it or leave it, but you hear it and you get it and it's offered to you. And you're not going to have all those voices in your studio someday. And that's part of quantifying it. That's is what people think, how they receive your work. So those voices, those intimate voices go away when those voices get sort of further away. And maybe I think you have to just kind of trust yourself and feel like you're doing good work. And you don't always feel that way. I think sometimes you feel like you're in a slump and you have to sort of keep with it.
Yeah. Okay. Next question from students is, what are you the most proud of?
Oh, that's a hard one. As an artist?
I think you can, there's no qualification, so answer it however you see fit. As an artist and an educator.
Well, I guess I'm proud of pursuing what I'm really interested in, what I think that I'm good at, whether it yields the best possible results every year or not. Because it's not easy. Sometimes you think, sometimes I think, oh, no one told me I could have been a color scientist, or I could have, I read an article recently where there were these scientists searching for new shapes, and I thought, no one told me as a high school student that I could have, spent my career looking for new shapes. That might have been nice. But I guess I'm proud that I went for it, and that I did it, and it's not always the perfect image of what you thought, but you did it, and I feel like that's I have kids, and sometimes I think, when my career is up or down, you think at least they're watching me go for it and do what I want to do and do the best work that I can, whether it's an artist or a teacher.
Awesome. Great answer, Kelly. You kind of answered this already, but it's for the sake of fairness, I'll ask it anyway. Is your job what you originally planned?
It is, although, like you said, I feel like when I was a student looking up to my instructors, I felt like they were mostly artists. I didn't mostly teachers. And now that I've been teaching for 10 years, I feel that I'm mostly a teacher, and I work really hard to also be an artist. But teaching often ends up coming before being an artist. But that's okay. I think my teaching and what I do in the classroom does inform my work as an artist, but I don't think I perceived it that way or expected it to that way.
And the last question that I have written for prepared from students, and then we'll ask the audience, is how hard was it to find a job? Well, let's call it that. Was, is. We'll do both.
It's pretty hard. I came out of grad school in 2001, and things were kind of okay then, and then they kind of fell out. So I had sort of a rougher path ahead of me than I anticipated, and I would go look for jobs, and there might have been 3. There weren't a lot of jobs, and I know that was kind of the case for a lot of years. I would say just this year is maybe the first time that I looked into my field of opportunities, and there were more than 5. So there's that. Yeah.
That points at the grim reality, but I was also on the job market for a while and went for it like it was my full-time job ultimately. And I think when I was doing that, there was a special emphasis for me on taking what I was doing really seriously, because if I didn't do that for myself, I really couldn't expect anybody else to do it for me. Owning it.
A lot of dedication and commitment to even go for it.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we have a serious room full of people here, and I would love to just field more questions. If you guys have some questions just off the fly for Kelly. Anything really, being a teacher, being an artist, job market, Sarah?
So you mentioned that you feel like you're a teacher first and an artist second. Do you feel disappointed in the, less amount of art you can make as a teacher?
I'm not sure I heard all of that, but I think you asked if I felt disappointed that I'm a teacher first. And I guess, maybe I sort of miscommunicated that. It's not so much that I'm a teacher first and an artist second, it's that my duties and my prep as a teacher always come before my work as an artist. So if I have class tomorrow and I have a drawing on the table that I'm working on, I need to be prepared for my class tomorrow more so than I need to second layer of paint on my piece.
Yeah.
So it's not so much that I'm, again, maybe I said it a little bit wrong, but, and I don't think everyone is like that. Maybe I try so hard to put my whole self into teaching and to make it a valuable experience for students. And maybe sometimes I could put more work into my work, but I do feel like I'm always first interested in making sure that I have everything ready for my classes and that they have everything they need. And then when I have an hour or 2 here or there in my office or in my studio, that I do that work. But I would say it would be honest for me to say that I am more interested in being ready for my classes this week than I am making sure that I get this drawing or this painting or this whatever I'm working on finished, because I feel like that can wait a little bit. And I feel like that even with regard to bigger things in my life. And sometimes thinking about my work is, even if I can't be making it and working on it, thinking about it is something that I'm always doing and is part of my teaching as well.
There are also different kinds of universities. So Kelly graduated from Kent State, which is a research one institution, which meant that during her undergraduate degree, her teachers would be in the classroom and then leave. basically. We were
Yes.
used to the faculty leaving as soon as they finished teaching. And that's because their research agenda was prioritized over teaching in their job description. So UD is a teaching research equal institution. So you guys see your faculty more as a result of that prioritization over time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's also true of my roles as a teacher. So as an adjunct, adjuncts are often, and I never really overcommitted myself, but you commit to certain classes, and sometimes there's sort of but my current job is just in a non-contract job, so there's an emphasis on teaching over research, and research in our field is considered art making. So my current role is, what I've signed up for and what I've signed a contract for is really actually to put teaching first and my research second. So that's probably why for me it goes that way, whereas tenure track faculty, which there are any at my institution, put research first and maybe teaching a very, very close second or equal. So it does have something to do with my employment and the specific roles that I've had in the classroom.
Other questions from you guys, for colleagues? Yeah.
Okay, so this is about education and teaching art education. What is something that inspires you? Like, what made you want to do education, and what gives you that gratification from your job?
Can you hear that?
I did. As an undergrad, I remember always thinking, here are my teachers, and they're older than I am, they're at a different point in their life, but I always thought it was so interesting to be in touch and interacting with students, younger people with new ideas and newer experiences and different experiences. So I remember feeling like that at a really early age, is an early point in my education, was feeling that I admired that about my professors, was that they got to work, have their life perspectives of their students. And I love that about teaching. I love hearing where my students are coming from, what experiences they've had, how it differs from my own, what they think art is. So I think really that sort of big, rounded perspective of where people are coming from is important to me. And I love being in touch with a wide range of people.
Other questions? Ben?
This might be a little bit personal, but
Can you so loud?
oh, should I? Okay.
Shout it.
How do you balance the aspect of being a parent and an educator and an artist all combined?
That's a big dog, Ben.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking. I'm sure there's the majority of us in here want to start families eventually, and balancing that with a career and being a full-time artist, I can imagine that's pretty difficult.
Good question.
It is, and I'm going to say I admire you for even thinking that broadly at this point. Right out of grad school, I remember the project that actually I'm sitting in front of that I worked on is the first project that I did after I became a mom, and it's 24. I don't know if you guys can even see me. Can they see me? Or?
Yeah, they can see you. You're projected giant on a screen.
I've been pretending, but nobody's seen me the whole time.
I'll send you a picture.
It's 24 1 foot by 1 foot squares. So I started working on this. The first house that my husband and I bought was 600 square feet. That's a really small house if you're not familiar with square footage. And we had a baby, and I had a show at a gallery that right out of grad school, one of my instructors sort of kind of like pushed me towards this gallery in Columbus, Ohio, when we moved. And so I was really lucky to have gotten that sort of start there. But I had worked small, but I wanted to work big, so that meant working on a lot of small pieces that were going to be constructed to make a big piece. And I was really, the reason this is still here is because I was not willing to let it go as individual pieces. I wanted you either took all 24 or you took 9. And so, but I liked this idea of big, I liked the idea of series, I liked the idea of variation. But I didn't really have time to work on one huge piece, so it was just me sitting with these small 11.5 by 11.5 inch pieces of paper in my tiny little dining room. So and then I built all the frames and I built them in the backyard while my first one was napping. And it was tricky, but I look back at that time and I'm proud of myself. Someone asked me what I was proud of. I'm proud of myself for persisting and finding a way to do it, even when it was really tricky, because it's definitely tricky. And just like teaching, sometimes it's really our job. No one's going to follow you around, tapping you on the shoulder, making sure that you make art, right? You have to make yourself make art, and you can't have excuses for not doing it. Every now and then you do. You say, oh, I didn't make anything this last 6 months or this last month because, but it's really up to you to follow through and force yourself to do it. If people aren't going, that's anyone else's priority. You making art is not a priority to anyone else. It's your thing. You don't make yourself do it, you're not going to do it. So I do feel like I was proud of myself for going through that. And it's been a struggle ever since, you know. My kids are older, but I still, it's a tricky balance for sure. But if you want to do it, you'll do it.
That was a big question amongst the students that I was in school with through grad school and undergrad both. How do you do all of it? And I remember being very, very highly discouraged from having children. That was kind of, the major, long discussions we would have about this. But then I also then was able to watch those same people have families, subsequently that would happen. And I think the thing about it is, one of those questions like that we had for Kelly at the very beginning is, why did you go to art school? I think that answer to that question also kind of points at how you manage the balance, which is that this was the only thing that you wanted to do with your life, right? Like art was the thing.
Right. Sorry. Speaking of managing the balance, I'm in my own balance ring, and I also think, I often tell my students that if I expect my students to be in class and to be in the program because they genuinely want to be. I kind of joke in a lighthearted way that no one sat you down at the dining room table and said, it would be really great and more practical to go to art school. I imagine maybe some people have that conversation, but my parents are very supportive and I'm grateful for that, but it's not like you've done the research and decided what your best bet is to making a good living and you've come up with art school. I expected that my students are there, and I expected that I was there because I wanted to be there for no other reason. Because that's kind of it. It's you're either driving yourself or it's maybe not a good fit. But I do totally expect my students to be there because that is their choice. I feel like some people might go to business school or to some other disciplines because it's a promising career and there's, the chances are good. But I feel like to be an artist, it's something you do because you want to do it, and that's your first reason.
Other questions? Kelly? Yeah, Gina.
What experiences when you were an undergrad did you seek out to qualify you for that first job in the satellite gallery?
I think to qualify me for my first job at the satellite gallery, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. What experiences?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had so many good opportunities. I think maybe my first year of undergrad, I was not a totally dedicated, focused student. I think that's fair. I think we have this transition, and I teach first year students, and I try to keep that in mind that it's a big transition to make. Beyond that, absolutely, totally dedicated to my work and succeeding as a student and learning as much as I could learn. I feel like it's like learning first, earning credit second, and grades third. So I was pretty committed to learning, and I worked pretty closely with several of my professors, and I did a couple of I worked assistants to them on building frames. I did two of my professors were doing a collaboration that they would hire students that, because it worked for them. They didn't have to pay us a lot, but it was big money to us, and it gave us opportunities to see what real artists were doing things. And to my professors on a couple of projects, and then it was as the satellite gallery was opening, I had applied for that job and got that. But that was really a valuable experience because back then it wasn't digital. People sent in envelopes with slides, and we had meetings, sort of programming meetings. So people would apply for an exhibition, and we had a meeting, and it was myself, and I was a student, and I would meet. Most of my faculty members were there as part of the committee, and they would choose artists to exhibit. So I got this sort of inside look at how they were talking about the work, what they thought was interesting, what they thought was current, what they thought was not so interesting. And I also learned little things like how to install an exhibition or professional practices, how to communicate with artists, how to apply for exhibitions. So it was a super valuable job, and I'm glad that I got to do it. I also, had to paint all these gap parts. So it was also really practical, hands-on work that had to be done.
I'd like to add to that, knowing
But I
Kelly.
think I got it from just committing myself and saying yes to any opportunity that I was given.
Knowing Kelly, I think personality plays into this. So Kelly is very likable. Kelly is very easy to work with. She gets along well with others. She communicates effectively. And I think those things, as an instructor who looks to hire students for things, those things go a really long way as well.
Yeah, and just a sense of, I've recently been hiring students for jobs in the photo lab and things like that, and just being responsible and dependable. Those are simple things that I think when you apply for those kinds of jobs and they're looking for student workers, they want someone who's responsible and dependable and will come in and kind of give it their all and try to make the most of it.
I think we have time for one more question. Zach.
I have a question about teaching. What was your transition like moving from student to teacher? Granted, we never stop learning, but what was it like moving from becoming an acceptor of knowledge to becoming a site or a source of knowledge to others?
I kind of heard that, but maybe you could reiterate.
I'll reiterate. What was your transition like from student to teacher? So you are a receptor of knowledge to being a disseminator of knowledge.
That's a super good question. I never will forget being in grad school and getting the advice from one of my teachers that, because they're sending you out into the world, it's time you go get your job, you apply for everything. And I remember them saying, if there's a color theory class that you can apply to teach and you don't know color theory, apply for it and learn color theory. So there was this kind of you might not know everything that you're going to need to teach in your future, but you need to learn it. That was pretty daunting in one. I was thinking of that and we had email and so forth, but it was a little bit different than it is now. And now I think that and I'm super interested in the role of the educator and how it's changed. So now teachers are more facilitators. Knowledge is at your fingertips. You can learn anything you want to know, anytime you want to know it. And I have to, I was teaching, I tell my digital media students, I learned Photoshop a long time ago, and I didn't stop learning it then. I had to keep learning it the whole time. I have to relearn it. They change it. Technology changes, software changes. You can't stop learning, but it has to be self-initiated learning. So I think I initially, early on, I felt like, oh my gosh, I have to learn all of this because I am the source of knowledge. And over the last decade, it's become a little bit different. My role has changed. I am a source of knowledge, but I'm also a facilitator. I help students know and learn how to learn. I think it's super important, especially for my digital students, to know that I can't just learn how to learn and be willing to figure out and problem solve. And if they don't know how to do this, they can ask me and I might be able to tell them, but they also need to know that they can go and they can Google their problem and they might come up with a solution. But you don't learn things once, you learn things forever in our field.
Anything else? Lingering, burning questions? Okay, thank you so much, Kelly. This was really awesome.
Thank you.
I'm
I'm glad the FaceTime didn't get glitchy or anything.
Me too. I wish you could see everybody that's in here, but how about a round of applause? Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It was nice.
We'll see you soon.
Okay, thanks, Emily.
Bye.